This is often taken to mean that Islam is the middle way, that it's a path that doesn't go to the extremes of fervor and piety, nor does it go to the extremes of laxity. It keeps a sensible middle path. But I think the real meaning of this is that the prophets are talking to one another. They are getting to know one another. They're discussing. They're taking each other's advice and listening to one another. This is how it should be today. This is, as I've said, the paradigm of Muslim spirituality and pluralism. The respect for other faiths is right there in that story. And I think the whole story of the prophets coming from far away Mecca to Jerusalem shows his yearning to bring the Arabs who felt that they'd been left out of the divine plan right into the heart of the monotheistic family. And the first biographers of the Prophet, peace be upon him, place this incident at the time of the Hijrah, when the Muslim community made the momentous migration from Mecca to Medina, 250 miles or so to the north. And of course this, as you'll all be aware here, was a most momentous step. To abandon your own tribe, your own kin permanently, and take up residence with a tribe to whom you are not related by blood was absolutely unheard of in Arabia. Where the tie of blood was regarded as an absolute sacred value, it amounted to blasphemy. It was profoundly shocking. And yet here you have, this is the beginning in the Hijrah, and this is the beginning of the Muslim era. The Muslim era begins at a moment of innovation, profound and daring, audacious and courageous innovation, where one leaves the tribal ethos of the past with its narrow outlook and embraces a wider identity. And in Arab poetry, the night journey was often a theme of various love songs, love odes. The poet would be separated from his beloved, and he would make a journey through the desert, encountering terrible monsters, having frightening experiences, terrible fears, and then finally he's reunited with his tribe. And he sings a great paean, an ode in praise of his tribe. He is for his tribe whether they are right or wrong. He will kill anybody who is an enemy of his tribe. His tribe is the best, the superlative tribe of all. No others could match him. The prophet's night journey reverses this. So instead of ending with the tribal chauvinism, you move from the tribal chauvinism to adopt a wider family of all humanity. The night journey is also about Jerusalem, of course. And that theme of accepting and embracing the other runs right through the Islamic history of Jerusalem. When Omar conquered Jerusalem in 638, he was shown around the city by the Greek Orthodox Patriarch. And he was being shown the Church of the Resurrection and was standing by the tomb of Christ when the time for prayer came around. And the Patriarch invited him to pray where he was in the church. And Omar said no. And he went outside and he made his prayers in the main street. And he came back and he said, if I had prayed in your church. Some misguided Muslims of the future might have wanted to knock your church down and build a mosque to commemorate the first Islamic prayer in Jerusalem. And there and then, he signed a charter to ensure that the Christians kept all their buildings, all their churches and homes absolutely intact. And then Omar asked, where's the temple? Where's the Jewish temple? Because the Quran speaks of the great mosque that the Prophet Solomon had built in Jerusalem. The Christians are very embarrassed because that temple was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70 CE, and the Christians had left the church in ruin, that site in ruins, as a sign of the victory of Christianity over Judaism. And in recent years, they'd taken to using this site as the city garbage dump. Finally, when Omar stood on this temple platform, he looked round in horror at the desolation, and immediately he started picking up the garbage and putting it in his cloak and throwing it over the parapet into the Vale of Gehenna underneath, and his followers did the same. And not content with that, he invited the Jews who'd been forbidden to live permanently in the city while it was under Christian ownership. He invited the Jews to come back to Jerusalem, the city of David. And 70 Jewish families came from Tiberias and settled beside the Muslims at the foot of the Haram, leaving the Christians to their residences on the top of the Western Hill in the healthier part of town. And later, much later, when Salah ad-Din conquered Jerusalem from the Crusaders, he too invited the Jews who again had been ejected from Jerusalem by the Christians to return to the Holy City. And when the Jews were thrown out of Spain by the Christians in 1492, Suleiman invited them to take refuge in the Holy Land. And because where the Jews used to congregate on the Mount of Olives was no longer safe, it had become very much overrun by marauding Bedouin at the time of the decline of the Mamluks. Jews had taken to praying at what is now called the Western Wall.